Securing A.
So, it's that time of year again. A new release and a new Call of Duty where we all sit and wonder, will this be the next competitive game we've been waiting for? Well, the track record for the last 4 installments have always resulted in a huge disappointment for the PC community. Well, the competitive side at least. So it's a surprise we always seem to think the next game will be different and spend our money to find everything we dislike. Well, luckily this time might be different. With Black Ops 2, Treyarch have made an effort to appeal to the competitive community. Although this was obviously targeted at console, the benefits still apply to the PC version. Some of the features implemented might actually allow this game to be different, although there are some huge downfalls too. But going over the positives, the game allows the players to set custom rule sets and therefore turn off all the perks, kill streaks and restrict guns. It's not exactly the customization and editing of the game that we're used to in Pro Mod, but at least it allows the game to be somewhat playable. So far, a week after release, a rule set has been created by the use of ESL's forums. Although this might not be finalised, it's a start. The only problem with this currently is that the rule allowing only one sniper per team can be broken at the click of a button. Probably one of the biggest plus sides of the game is its media possibilities, something which has always lacked in Pro Mod. The game allows anyone who can gain more than 10 viewers to stream straight to YouTube, which can be set up quite effortlessly and provide high quality no lag streams. If the feature is as stable as explained, then it would allow individuals and teams to get more exposure by streaming, although currently this only seems to be available in League play. Along with this you have the theatre mode, which isn't exactly a new instalment into the series, but for anyone who hasn't spent a great deal of effort playing the last few games, then this is something you wouldn't have had the time to receive the benefits from. The game automatically records your every game, like a demo, which can then be put into theatre mode and replayed. It has all the timely functions that you would need. It also allows for certain things to be toggled on and off, and also has a free spec, which is something we've always lacked in Pro Mod. Along with this, the game features a COD caster mode, which is essentially a shoutcasting mode which shows the team scores, the player being watched, and then other details can again be toggled on and off. So this certainly helps the game in terms of esports. Probably the last new feature the game has is its use of League play, which is basically an elo system similar to that of League of Legends or StarCraft. While this could possibly be good for teams in the future, it still has a few problems. Firstly, the game mode is 4 vs 4 rather than the 5 vs 5 that we're used to. Secondly, it doesn't have any restrictions on the guns, perks or kill streaks, which is strange considering it's supposed to be competitive. And thirdly, the system just doesn't really work correctly yet, so maybe it's something which will be beneficial in the future. So, some of the bad points in the game would be that we don't have any dedicated servers, and instead have to use Treyarch's matchmaking system. So far, the effects of not having dedicated servers haven't really been that bad, but it just makes everything more effort having to invite your entire team to the game, and then invite the other team, just to play a game rather than just simply join an IP. It probably means you're going to end up having a lot of random people on your Steam friends list, so it's kind of a pain. Secondly, the game doesn't have any mod tools, meaning even though we can edit some of the basics in the game list, it's not really the full package. I mean, it would have been nice if we could have edited similar to Pro Mod in terms of damage on guns, visual improvements, and just general improvements within the game. Along with this, it's not possible to edit your configs, although I'm not really sure if this is a good or bad thing, as at least it means everybody will be on a level playing field. Moving on to some of the competitive aspects of the game, one of the biggest problems we face each year with these new releases is finding suitable maps. I can't really say on initial thought that I personally thought this game was any different. For the first few days I couldn't really see any of the maps being playable, especially on Search and Destroy. Although after playing some of them with the ESL rule set and after actually getting to know the maps, some of them aren't as bad as they seem. Currently teams seem to be playing around 5 to 7 of the maps on Search and Destroy. Right now there's no official map list, so it's advised that you just play all of them and try them out. Movement is another huge factor within Pro Mod, and it's what makes the game faster paced compared to COD 1 and COD 2. Of course the game still has sprint in it, but I feel it'll be a lot slower paced than Pro Mod as the movement just isn't as fluent due to slowing down immensely after sprinting. Although I do think the movement is probably the best we've seen since Call of Duty 4's release, getting around maps at least relatively fast with gracefulness and pace isn't really a problem. So one of the game breakers for an FPS which wants to become competitive tends to be the guns in the game. They need to be balanced, and this was a problem within COD 4, which is why PAM and later Pro Mod were created to balance out the damages of certain weapons, notably the 74U. It also kind of isolated most of the guns, so we were stuck with the same 4 weapons over and over. The outcome in Black Ops is the same, but there isn't really much of a choice. With no mod tools means no editing the values of damage from weapons. Therefore, we're currently given multiple assault rifles, 2 SMGs, 2 snipers, 2 shotguns and 2 pistols to choose from, which isn't exactly a bad amount, at least it's more than Pro Mod had. Although you'll obviously soon see a trend set of favourite weapons, as was the AK-47 and 74U in Pro Mod. Call of Duty has always been a very sound-based game, which is a problem with Black Ops 2 because the sound is just really bad and I'm not too sure why. It's really hard to pinpoint enemies. There have been some ways to at least help the problem, one of these being to set your sound settings to super crunch, but it doesn't really make up for it. In terms of general settings, it allows you to change your field of view to 80, and as far as I know there will be a patch released at some point to change this to 90, and you can also show your FPS. So the game overall is in some shape or form a comparable version of Pro Mod, almost like a PAM 4 version from back in the day before all the major tweaks and settings were discovered. There do seem to be some cups and leagues for the game appearing, which is handy. All I can say to finalise this video is that Black Ops 2 isn't Pro Mod. It probably isn't as good as Pro Mod and it's not what we're used to, but if you take that mindset into every game you play as a substitute, then you're always going to be disappointed. The only way to accept a game like this, which in reality has a possibility of being something, is to embrace it and change. Just like myself and many others changed from playing the standard COD 1 and COD 2 settings to a completely different type of FPS in COD 4.